She thought freedom would feel like fresh air. Instead, it felt like an empty room with her own heartbeat echoing back at her. The pen barely leaves the divorce papers and already her mind is sprinting toward a fantasy. This is it. This is the beginning of my real life. It's the story she's been telling herself for years, whispered in moments of frustration, shouted in moments of hopelessness, repeated by friends who meant well but understood little. But fantasies have a cruel habit. They don't survive the contact with reality. Behind every impulsive exit lies a quiet psychological engine. It's called projection, funneling all the unmet needs, all the disappointments, all the emotional bruises into one figure standing in front of you. Him. He becomes the container for your entire unhappiness. And once the container is full enough, you convince yourself the only solution is to throw it away. This is how I deserve better subtly transforms into everything will magically improve the moment I leave. And on paper, it makes sense. After all, she had been emotionally starved for years, overlooked, unheard, misunderstood. The marriage had become a hallway where two ghosts tried not to bump into each other. So she did what countless people do when pain becomes routine. She reached for the eject button. Her friends applauded. Social media fed her slogans about empowerment. Even strangers validated her decision. It felt good. Too good. Like emotional sugar, sweet on the tongue, destructive in the bloodstream. Because beneath the applause was a silence no one warned her about. The first night alone in her new apartment, she sits on the edge of a half-assembled sofa, scrolling through her phone, waiting for the universe to reward her bravery. Instead, she meets a feeling she never expected. The hollow space where certainty used to live. When you leave a life, you don't just lose a partner. You lose the version of yourself that existed inside that world. And now she is face to face with a truth she tried not to see. She didn't just divorce a man. She divorced a story, and she has no replacement for it yet. Rule card. Never confuse breaking free with breaking open. One liberates you. The other exposes you. She stares at the empty apartment and whispers the question rising from somewhere deep inside. What if the problem wasn't only him? The next chapter begins where her fantasy shatters the hardest, the moment she steps back into the dating world and discovers a harsh new reality waiting for her. She expected messages, attention, a second chance at youth. Instead, silence, the kind that bruises the ego in places she didn't know existed. The night she reopens the dating apps feels strangely triumphant. A glass of wine. A flattering profile picture. A hopeful smile. This is supposed to be the renaissance she dreamed of, the moment the world finally sees her again. But the universe doesn't applaud. It barely looks up. At 28, she had been magnetic without trying. At 32, desirable by default. At 40 plus, she is now discovering the truth no one prepares you for. Attention was never guaranteed. It was rented. And the lease just ended. Notifications trickle in like a weak signal. A few half-hearted swipes. Messages from men 20 years older. Unmatched conversations that die before they begin. She refreshes the screen over and over, thinking something must be wrong. And something is wrong, but not with the app. It's the first collision with social perception psychology, a system most people don't realize they're part of until it stops favoring them. This isn't about moral worth. It's about market dynamics, options, and how society distributes attention with ruthless efficiency. In her 20s, she competed in an arena where the odds were tilted in her favor. In her 40s, she is now competing in an arena where the rules secretly changed while she wasn't looking. And here's the twist. Men her age are not looking for women her age. But men older than her, she doesn't want them. This creates a brutal asymmetry, a psychological no-man's land where validation becomes scarce and self-worth, once inflated, begins to deflate. This is where hedonic adaptation kicks in. Years of being noticed conditioned her brain to expect attention as a baseline. Now the absence of attention doesn't just feel different, it feels like a threat. She begins to notice things she never cared about before. The line near her eye. The smile that looks tired. The younger women walking into the restaurant with casual confidence. Even the way men look past her, not at her. It's not cruelty. It's biology filtered through culture. A silent mechanism she never had to confront until now. And late at night, lying alone, she feels a thought crawling beneath her ribs. I thought divorcing him meant more options, so why does it feel like I suddenly have fewer? This crack in her expectation opens the door to something darker, not about men, not about dating, but about the life she left behind. Because as she keeps searching outward, she begins noticing what she lost inward. And the ghost of the life she walked away from is about to return with a message she can no longer ignore. Rule card. Validation is a currency. When the supply dries up, the truth rises to the surface. The next chapter reveals the moment she realizes the life she escaped might not have been the prison she imagined. She wanted a new beginning. Instead, she got a front row seat to the life she abandoned, improving without her. It starts on a quiet Saturday. The kind she used to spend cleaning the kitchen while the kids argued over cartoons and her husband fixed something in the garage. Now, the house is gone. The noise is gone. And worst of all, the identity that came with it is gone. Her children are spending the weekend with their father. The man she once blamed for everything she felt, everything she feared, everything she wanted to escape. But something unexpected is happening. He looks different. Friends mention it first. Have you seen him lately? He's really taking care of himself. He seems happier. At first, she dismisses it. But curiosity grows like a bruise. So she checks his social media, something she promised herself she wouldn't do. There he is. New haircut. Healthier. Smiling. A calmness in his eyes she doesn't remember ever seeing when they were together. And there are photos with their kids. The kids are laughing, genuinely, brightly. There's a lightness in those images, as if the tension that used to live inside their home has evaporated. Then there's the moment she fears most. A picture of him at a dinner table, with another woman sitting beside him. Not touching him. Not claiming him. Just there, comfortably, naturally, like she belongs. Something inside her fractures. This is where psychology sharpens its blade. Counterfactual thinking. The mind obsessively replaying alternate versions of the past. Maybe we could have fixed it. Maybe I didn't try hard enough. Maybe he wasn't the entire problem. Regret is cruel because it doesn't just revisit history. It rewrites it, improves it, polishes it, weaponizes it. And suddenly, she's remembering the small things he used to do. Warming her car on cold mornings. Fixing the leaking sink. Staying up with the kids when they were sick. That quiet reliability she once called boring now feels like stability she didn't value until it was gone. Regret isn't loud. It whispers. It sneaks in through the cracks of isolation. It tells her, you didn't just leave a man. You left a life that someone else is now quietly enjoying. This creates a psychological fracture called narrative dissonance. She left believing she was choosing happiness. But her new reality is contradicting the very story she used to justify the divorce. And that contradiction hurts more than loneliness ever could. She scrolls through photos of her ex and his new, calmer existence, feeling a nausea she can't explain. A question rising like smoke. Did I walk away from the very thing I wanted him to become, and now someone else gets that version of him? Rule card. Regret doesn't hurt because of what happened. It hurts because of what could have happened. But this is only the beginning. Because soon, she will confront something far darker than jealousy, the slow, creeping awareness of time itself. And time has no mercy. She thought she was choosing a new life. But what she really chose was a countdown. It hits her on a random Tuesday night, the kind of night where the world feels too quiet and too honest. She's sitting in her car, parked outside her old neighborhood. The streetlights glow like distant memories. Her former home stands there, unchanged, while she feels centuries older. A single truth whispers through the windshield. There are decisions you can walk away from. And there are decisions that walk with you forever. This is where psychology exposes its coldest reality. 1. Temporal discounting. The human brain is wired to choose short-term relief over long-term meaning. Leaving felt like escape. Like cutting the rope that tied her to disappointment. But what she didn't realize was that she wasn't running toward a better future. She was running away from discomfort. And the future always arrives. Always. And when it does, it demands payment. She thought she was buying freedom. What she actually purchased was consequence with interest. 2. The fear that creeps in after 40. Aging alone is not a nightmare, it's a slow drip of realization. A health scare that reminds her she's not invincible. A retirement account that suddenly seems too small. An empty apartment that echoes in the places marriage once filled. This is the fear no one discusses publicly but everyone feels privately. What if the rest of my life looks exactly like this? Loneliness isn't loud. It's quiet, predictable, and devastating. She imagines future holidays spent alone. The kids growing older, spending more time with friends, partners, work. Life squeezing her out, inch by inch, until she becomes a footnote in her own story. 3. Attachment hunger. Humans don't crave romance first. They crave belonging. Being someone's favorite person. Being needed. Being chosen. Divorce didn't just break her marriage. It severed her role, wife, partner, anchor. And now she feels the ache of something she never noticed when she had it. Being in a long-term bond makes you part of a story bigger than yourself. Walking away makes you the only character left in the room. She misses the small things. His keys dropping on the table. Someone to say I'm home to. A presence in the next room. The comfort of knowing someone would notice if she didn't wake up tomorrow. This isn't about him anymore. It's about the terrifying possibility that she might have removed the one safeguard against a future she never envisioned. 4. The moment she breaks. She grips the steering wheel and whispers, I thought I had more time. Time is ruthless. It does not slow down for regret. It does not offer do-overs. And it never returns what you abandon willingly. Rule card. Before you burn a bridge, ask yourself one question. Will I still be glad it's gone when I'm too tired to swim back? In the next chapter, the story takes its final turn, where her regret transforms into a lesson far bigger than marriage, dating, or aging. It becomes a warning about truth, fantasy, and the lies we tell ourselves when we're afraid to face our own reflection. Her story isn't about marriage. It's about the moment a person realizes the enemy they were running from was living inside them all along. By now, she understands something that took 5 chapters of her life to reveal. Divorce wasn't the villain. Her ex wasn't the villain. Even aging, loneliness, and the dating market weren't the villain. The real villain was the story she built to avoid confronting herself. Because when people feel trapped, they often do what she did. They romanticize escape. They glorify reinvention. They believe that burning everything down will illuminate the truth. But fire reveals nothing. It only removes what once grounded you. 1. The unexamined decision. Many people believe regret comes from choosing wrong. But regret comes from choosing blindly. She didn't leave because the marriage was truly unsalvageable. She left because the discomfort inside her demanded movement, any movement. And society fed her a script. Follow your heart. You deserve better. Don't settle. But no one ever asks the harder, more honest questions. Better than what? Better for whom? Better based on which version of you, the wounded one or the wise one? When decisions are driven by pain, they don't free you. They just relocate your suffering. 2. The psychology behind her spiral. Her regret wasn't caused by divorce. It was caused by the unconscious forces she never addressed. Idealization of freedom. Believing happiness lived somewhere she wasn't. Demonization of the familiar, blaming her marriage for every unmet need. Addiction to validation, expecting attention to fill the void. Avoidance of introspection, choosing movement over meaning. These forces don't disappear when you leave a relationship. They follow you home. They climb into your bed. They stare at you in the mirror. In the end, she didn't escape her problems. She packed them. 3. The lesson most people learn too late. This video is not a warning to stay in bad marriages. It is a warning against self-deception. Because there are 2 kinds of escape. The escape that saves your life. And the escape that sabotages it. Before you walk away from a life, a relationship, a commitment, ask, am I running toward truth? Or running away from myself? One empowers you. The other destroys everything quietly and slowly, and convinces you it was destiny. Rule card. Don't rewrite your story to avoid facing yourself. Face yourself so you can rewrite your story honestly. She wanted freedom. She found herself instead. And sometimes, that is the most terrifying discovery of all. Because the final question, the one she can no longer outrun, now hangs in the air like smoke. Was I chasing happiness? Or just running from the work it required? The answer, for every viewer, is waiting in the silence after this video ends.